Hello everyone. It's a bit of a different video today, but I actually was playing hardcore for quite a while. I'm going to go through this a little bit quick because there's a lot to talk about, but a while ago before the hardcore servers came out, I did hit 60 on a Warlock, and this is on Bloodsail Buccaneers, back where everyone played hardcore, using the hardcore add-on, and I decided to do this run. It was a solo self-found run, but I did it as a melee warlock because for me, I wanted to see if that's something that was possible, and clearly it is. And I just want to say, if I can hit 60 on a melee warlock, you can hit 60 on whatever class you're playing, whether it's a rogue or a warrior or anything else. So I'll kind of go over what I did as a melee warlock, and then I'll go over my gear and everything else surrounding it. So just talk about quickly what my criteria were for melee warlocks. One, you want to be meleeing, so part of that is we use Firestone, which I'll talk about later. Another part is that we can use spells, just no damaging abilities for the most part. So if you look here, ignored, right? So I don't have any of these corruption ranks, don't have any of these immolate ranks, no shadow bolt. Now what didn't I limit? I didn't limit curses, and I didn't differentiate with curses. So here we have agony on the bars. It is trained. We are using agony. I'm not gonna say, oh, all curses but agony. I'm just saying, hey, I can use all curses because all the other ones are utility ones, like weakness you use for a long time. And I wasn't going to say no weakness. Weakness is so good, especially early as you're going through it. So I wasn't going to limit weakness off. So if I'm not limiting weakness, I'm not limiting agony. Fear is okay. Coil does damage, but it actually does a lot of damage. But I used it in a different method because I was thinking, oh, I could just literally press this on cooldown and the burst is insane. But I decided that would be against the spirit of the run, so I only used it when I wanted an actual fear, and I didn't care for the damage portion. So I use this once in a while. It probably use maybe 10 times in my run total. What else? We did use Drain Life, Drain Mana. There's some cool tech with that I'll go over. It'll be a little bit hard to show. I guess I'll try to head somewhere and see if I can show it. But essentially, you can use it to reset your swing timer, but we'll talk about that later. Pets were fine, so I used the Succubus most of the run. Some people would say, oh, use Voidwalker. Voidwalker will taunt for you and take care of all the aggro. The Voidwalker, by the time you killed the mob, the Voidwalker would take so much damage. Because Succubus, with this talents that we're using, we're playing Soul Link, did about 50% of your damage, maybe a little less, 40%. Once you factor in like Healthstone, curses, all that. Depends on your level. So using Voidwalker is actually pretty bad. I actually recommend that you be the Voidwalker. It was much cleaner that way. Other than that, we just meleeed. You meleeed, you put up your curse, and then you were doing some melee kiting. If you don't know what melee kiting is, I actually have another video about that, so you can go and check that. Let's go over the gear really quick. I tried to stick to the theme as much as I could. I don't think this is the optimal way to play melee warlock. I don't think this is what you want to be doing, but we're warlock, we're melee, and we're gonna wear melee gear. So we have this helmet that I found. This actually came off of the Thorium Point, the quest right outside Thorium Point with the Dragon Malt, and you get that chest that gives you a random green or blue, and this is what I ended up getting. It was really good. So it's a bit later in the run, somewhere in the 50s I did that. Also, this character did not every dungeon. I did do a good chunk of them. Let me open up Atlas Loot. Take a look. So, didn't do Ragefire, didn't do Wailing, did Dead Mines. I did Shadowfang. I did Stockade. I did Nomer. I did RFK. I did all of SM. Didn't do Razorfen, didn't do Uldaman, didn't do ZF. I don't think. Did do Mara. We did Mara with Thrashblade. And then we didn't do any of these. So we did a good chunk of the leveling dungeons. It wasn't like, you know, we just weren't accepted into groups. And you're saying, wow, okay, they probably just carried you through it. This is also back when you can only do one dungeon per day, or not per day, per character. So I only got one chance to go and do it. But no, I felt like my damage was actually really comparable with everyone else. I think Curse of Agony, spreading that to every mob, was really powerful. I think the meleeing was really good. The Firestone procs were really good. And I went engineering, so I was chucking nades like every single pull. It was actually pretty strong. I was definitely up there with whoever was the top DPS almost every pull, which is pretty good. But yeah, let's keep going over the gear. This came from the Maraudon quest. I think this actually sucks. Because I think the formula for AP is 14 AP is 1 DPS. I think this is pretty bad, but it was in the theme, so I decided to use it. This is your Biss on theme shoulders. It comes from the Chromie quest in Western Plaguelands to do the termites. So you go do that. Pretty good. This one, I was actually doing mining because I hit level 55 and I was really low on grenades. So I went and ran around Arathi Highlands, and I was just trying to find ore, and I stumbled across a rare spawn, so I killed it and it dropped this cape. And I do think that my other cape, which was like 5 strength, 5 stam, is better, but it's on theme. It's like a crit agility, kind of nice. This is a 1%, 2%, something like that, drop chance off of the mobs in Duskwood. I love this actually. Inside the mine in Duskwood, there's these Worgen, the caster Worgen, and they have a 1 or 2% chance to drop this. And I got that at level like 28, and I never took it off. It's so good. If I was playing on hardcore now and I had it, I'd get it enchanted. This is such a good chest. I think if I did it again, I would still go for this chest, even if I wasn't going a strength build. It's really nice. Well, you know, if I'm meleeing, but building more optimally. These were some random bracers. I don't remember where I got them. Thrashblade comes for the Maraudon questline. Yes, the chance on hit for the extra swing does proc Firestone. Very funny. And whenever you do get that proc, it's like the extra swing. You usually get a proc of Firestone. It's crazy. Firestone, crazy offhand. Like, so this does 66 to 124. So let's say an average of like 90 something, 95. This thing is an average of 130. So that's more than your auto. And it's really good. I believe it scales with itself too. It doesn't scale with spell power from my testing, but it does scale with plus fire damage, I'm pretty sure, because I definitely have hit above 156 on Firestone. Let's take a look, actually. Oops, this damage taken. Damage done. Set it to overall. This is, the damage on the last rank of Agony was crazy. Yeah, so I've hit 177 on Firestone before. So it definitely goes over 156. I'm not sure exactly how you do that. I'm guessing it's because of the fire damage and not the plus spell power. I got this wand in Western Plaguelands, just a random drop. Didn't use it. You can see wand is not even like anywhere. Normally I keep it on T. T is something else. T is... I don't know, some item I don't have actually. But I used it for the spirit, basically. The plus int's fine. This is a 1% drop chance item from the goblins in Lower Stranglethorn, near Booty Bay. This is where you fight the Tinkerers. And you do the singing blue crystal quest there, but it's off of a very specific mob. It's only one mob in there, and they all share a spawn. And it was the mob that summons the extra robot, and that robot is the same health as the mob. It was brutal to farm this, but we got it. This one actually took like 3 hours to get, and this glove actually only took about an hour, so it's pretty good. This waist is insane. Actually, the most crack waist of all time. This came from the Booty Bay quest that takes you to Chnaris, and then you have to go and get someone's booze, but to get the booze, you have to go and get the chest they left by the pirate area. Really good waist. Love this one. This is also a cracked pants. 18 spirit is crazy, 8 strength is crazy, 8 stamina is crazy. This came from the Ungoro Crater Rescue Escort, where it does the goblin in the cave in the middle of the fire elemental area. You have to rescue, or you have to escort him over. This, I don't remember where it came from. I think there are probably better boots. I think this is also an Ungoro Crater quest, but it's 9 agi, 10 stam. It's like a crit of agi. I'm not gonna complain. This ring is fucking insane. Actually, I didn't know this was in the game when I got it, because normally I pre-planned my build and I had everything laid out and I routed everything and I farmed for certain drops, but this was a crazy ring. So this you get from the Silithus questline, or the questline that takes you to Silithus. You have to go to Moonglade, talk to a guy, he takes you to Silithus. You go to that ghost camp right outside the Silithus base, and then you come back and he gives you this ring. It is nutty. There's this one, which you get from doing RFK. It's the escort quest. I used that since I got it. Lufa, Mark of the Chosen. This is just a Thorium or Searing Gorge quest. This is the Maradon trinket. It's pretty good. Going over talents, it kind of changes if your levels. So this is what the end result was. I do think before you hit level 24, you should be using Improved Imp, and you should be using your Imp. You're going to try to melee kite, let your Imp do a lot of the work. Your big threat here, or your big goal here during this 1 to 24 leveling is you need to keep aggro. Your Imp will rip off you. So you need to keep aggro on whatever you're hitting. So, but the end result here is improved health stone, 15% more stam, health funnel for when we need to health funnel the succubus. This is less of an in-combat thing. This is more of a, I health funnel my succubus, I bandage myself, we pull. Or I health funnel the succubus, I send her in, I bandage myself, so now we're still in combat, we're getting combat rolling, but I'm bandaging, and then that way we don't have to bandage our succubus. Bandaging succubus, also very good though. We have improved Voidwalker. This is less for every ability on here and more for the one that's a sacrifice. Sacrifice is the only reason you do this. You know, you have a tough mob, you summon your Voidwalker, you sack your Voidwalker, you summon a succubus, you send him in, you tank for the succubus, your shield goes away, you need another shield, you quick summon a Voidwalker, sack the Voidwalker, or you can like fear and then just hard cast the Voidwalker and make a shield. This makes you immortal, basically. I know this is 2.7k health, but basically if you use Coil, Health Stone, 2 shields from the Voidwalker, and you have Soul Link up, you have something like 8.9k health or something like that effectively. It's pretty crazy. Let me see if we can fly somewhere so I can demonstrate the... somewhere where I won't die talking. Let's go to Thorium Point. That's probably good. Anyway, talents. We go improved Succubus spells. This is really good. Just get the free Laster Pain damage. Soothing Kiss is something that reduces her threat. I would manually use this whenever she would get high on threat. I wouldn't set it to autocast. I don't think that's a good idea. The extra seduction duration, also really nice, because you can solo mobs. It's not your pet carrying you or whatever. You can solo mobs, it's no problem. Feldom, just to get a free Voidwalker out. This increases the health of Succubus, pretty good. This, in case I need to hard summon a Voidwalker, also nice when you're logging back on and you don't have a pet. This increases your Succubus damage. I did really want to go this. I found that the Subjugate Demon or the Enslaved Demon broke too often. There are a lot of demons out in the world, and by a lot I mean 2, that you can pick up and they will give you a Battle Shout buff, which, I mean, it'll give you like 100 AP, and I have 114, so it would like double my AP. Those buffs are crazy, but I didn't think they were worth the time because they only lasted like 2 minutes. You have the Demonic Sack. You don't really care about this, you never use this. This Firestone damage increase is huge, 30% is massive. I believe that is displayed in the tooltip when you make it, so if you have one and then you put a point into this, you need to remake your Firestone, I believe. This is crazy. If you have a Voidwalker out, first of all, if you have a Succubus out, you know, just regular gameplay, you get 10% all damage for you and your Succubus. which is insane because it's basically succubus is half your damage. So this reads increases all damage dealt by 20%, right? It's crazy. And then you get Soul Link. So aside of the damage reduction, it says you and your demon deal 3% more damage, and again, she deals half my damage. So this plus this is you dealing 26% more damage. That's crazy for 6 talent points. That is a lot of damage. The Voidwalker part is also really good, 10% less damage, include when you have Soul Link, which is a 30% damage redirection from whenever you take damage to your pet. That's 40%. If you have Voidwalker out, really strong. From there, we went 5 into Suppression, so that they wouldn't, because I believe Fear is an affliction spell, and I didn't want them to resist Fear. Is that right? Also Drain Life and Coil and Fear, yeah. So there's that. And then we went 5 into Improved Drain Life, 1 into Amplify Curse, just to make a Curse of Agony stronger every once in a while. And then the rest into Improved Agony. And then there was nothing else. Destruction Tree is really bad. Wouldn't recommend going in there. Mainly because you can't use Shadowburn. I mean, you could, but you can't. You know what I mean? Improved Lash of Pain is like really good. And Improved Fireball is really good, but it's not Soul Link good. Basically, I'll say this now, in case you're still kind of iffy on the build. This is the tankiest thing I've ever leveled in hardcore. I was solo self-found. It was crazy how tanky you were. There was only one point I was like, man, I might die, and it wasn't even that close. It was on 2 points actually. One was in Felwood. There was a bunch of demons spawning on top of me during the Satyr quest. That was really scary. Because I was but I did the ticks. I was like, okay, I'm getting like 100 mana a tick. I'm like 80 mana off casting Death Coil, so I'm just gonna wait. And I was like 2 hits from death, but it worked out. And then there was one in the Silithus Tower. So when you go up to the top, you right-click the nest, and then these bugs spawn. But then when you kill the bugs, there's a bug, pun intended, that the bugs kept spawning over and over and over and over and over. So I kept killing them, and I was like, man, okay, I have to go. Like, this shit's scary. So there's that. But other than that, it was pretty good. And that's the idea. I'm actually going to do this again on Horde side. I do have a melee Warlock on Skull Rock that I'm about to get started. And that one will be interesting because Blood Fury, if it works the way I think it does, because it says 25% base AP, and someone in the comments wrote it's level times 4 plus 2, which I want to say is like a TBC thing, but I'm going to test it. If it does work like that, and that is the formula they use, that will be crazy, because that means at level 20 you're getting like 82 spell power, or not spell power, attack power. And that is wild. So we'll see how that goes. And you have things like Cauldron Stir that are really good early. I can talk about my gear progression a little bit. There were some items I don't have on anymore, and I don't think I have in my bank, but I can quickly check. I swear I do have items in my bank, actually. I'm like pretty sure it's almost full. But before we do that, I'm going to talk about the Drain Life tech. This works better with a two-handed weapon. The one-handed's a little inconsistent. Essentially what happens is when you cast the spell, like Agony or Corruption or whatever, you reset your swing timer. So if your swing timer is halfway through and then you cast Agony, you'll hit the end and then you'll have to wait the same duration as half a swing, which is really bad. You never want to do that. You want to swing and then immediately cast Agony. And that way you reduce the amount of time that your swing timer's reset for. But, and this works the same for Drain Life, Drain Mana, whatever. However, if you're channeling your Drain Life and it finishes, it resets your timer. But if you're channeling it and a mob breaks your channel on Drain Life, it will not reset your timer because you didn't complete the spell, quote unquote. The mob interrupted it. Now, this was about 3 patches ago, and they have messed up the entire game every single time they patch something. So we're going to see if it works still. but let's find out here on the spider. We'll find out together. So I swing, and usually you want to do it around there. Hopefully the mob doesn't miss me too much. So you can see here I'm not swinging, and it's because I finished my cast. I need this mob to not miss. Yeah, you see how I swung right away? I didn't have to wait the entire duration because the mob is what interrupted me. So it hits, I swing, right? It's really strong. And the damage from everything is pretty good. If you have Agony on top of this, it's really strong also. You can see I'm not really taking any damage. Now granted, this mob's level 49, but, you know, let's say my mob's my level hit me for 130, so it's about double. So I'd be down to 80% by now. So it's not too bad. That was a cool tech though. I really enjoyed using that. Do I still have a Hearthstone? I do. Cenarian Hold. I need a bank. Guess I'll just fly to Ironforge and talk for a little bit until I get there. I want engineering. I want engineering and mining. I did not max out my engineering. I mainly did it for the target dummies and the iron grenades. Thorium grenades are just a little too much, and they took a little too much time. Wasn't really interested in doing all that. The server was still decently populated, so I didn't really want to fight with anyone over ore. So I didn't end up going all the way there. I did have some crazy profession routing, I'm not gonna lie. So we started with blacksmithing, and we made 40 of each sharpening stone, because we do switch to other weapons that are not just sharp weapons. And then after that, once we made 40, we dropped that and we went alchemy. And I played with alchemy for a while because I was like, oh, you get make your own potions, blah blah blah. You know, you can get stats. And then I realized that pretty much after the strength potion, every potion is just hot garbage for a melee warlock. You don't want the agility ones; they're whatever. They're okay, I guess. Though I kind of changed my mind a little bit on agility, but at the time that was my thought. I was like, oh, I want strength because it's the build I'm going for. Though, when I redo this run on Horde side, there might be a possibility I go agility, stamina, because I would much rather crit than do very slightly more DPS, because critting is big. So that's something I could think about. So we did that, and I didn't really think it was good. I never had an issue with potions. Like, I mean, I have 10 superiors right now. The only potion that really hurt was Major, but you know, I had like infinite graders, infinite whatever, so I was just selling potions. So I was like, okay, like I have 10 superiors here, I have 20 major healing potions on me. You know, like I clearly I had very little problem with getting consumes. The reason these are like nice and tidy amounts is that I sell the rest. My bags kind of suck. You know how it goes with soul found. So, what was I talking about? I was talking about professions. So I went engineering around level 40. I got my mount. I went and ran around and got ore. If you're going to go engineering, I would just say do blacksmithing and mining first, and then make your stones, and then go engineering. Now, if you're playing on official and you're not solo self-found and you want to sell things, I would just go mining herbalism or skinning or whatever. I don't like skinning as much on a warlock because your mount is free, but definitely mining herbalism would be good. Which sounds weird, like, oh, you don't want engineering. This character is so tanky. This character never dies. You have so many options for everything. As long as you're prepared for your situation, it is so good. And then fear in an unprepared situation is scary because you can just die. But with like seduce and fear, and here's another thing is if you fear a mob, I did this a lot. You fear a mob, you get it off you. You bandage, and right before that mob would pull another, you cursive wreck them, which will stop your fear, and they'll come back to you. Your fear will still be on them, but they are unable to flee. However, once they get back to you, if you reapply agony, they get insta-feared again, because the fear is still on them. This just makes them immune to fears. So, a little bit of a trick there. But, yeah, I had no issues living. I made 10 target dummies. I still have 10 target dummies. I didn't use any of them. There's no need. They would have been good in that Satyr moment, but I used a grenade, I think, or a health stone or something. Which, by the way, health stones are crazy. This thing recovers half my health. That's insane. bandages, first aid mandatory. That's the only mandatory profession. You need to go first aid. It's so good. Even if you're not using it for, oh, I'm gonna die, I need to first aid, oh, whatever. Use it to heal your pet. Use it to heal yourself so you help funnel your pet. Like, just, you can use it for speed. At the very least, instead of eating, just use first aid because you don't care about your mana. Though I will say, 55 to 60, having 3k mana and Curse of Agony costing like 200 started adding up a little bit. So that was a bit of an issue, but it's not really an issue. Let me see what I have in my bank. I think I kept every blue. Yeah, there we go. I kept like every blue I picked up. And I kept all my lock boxes for fun. But let's find the stuff I picked up. Gift of Arthas. If you're... Actually, I forgot about this. If you are on not solo self-found, you get this. This thing looks so broken. They take 8 more damage. That's crazy. That's so good. Obviously, I didn't have access to this. I don't have alchemy, and it's a world drop, so I wasn't counting on it, but I did get it, and it is absolutely nasty. This thing is so good. I definitely want to give this a shot when I do the Horde run. This thing is wild. I got a lip recipe, which is very funny, but can't use it. Dragon Breath Chili, if you're leveling cooking, get this. This is really good. You just belch out flames. The flames do a good grip of damage. It's like an extra auto at least with Thrash Blade, but I didn't level cooking, so I didn't do that. Thorium widgets, didn't care. These are the Thorium grenades if everyone went there. Got the Devil Sword legging recipe, which is very funny. Also got the Constitution Libram, which is hilarious. I was actually gonna make it, but the only thing is you need a BRD drop, and I wasn't gonna do BRD, so but this would have been viable for sure. A bunch of engineering garbage. I was ready, you know. I had the bars. We got these boots, which I didn't use. I got these pants, which I didn't use, but they are cool. I got these pants, which I did use, mainly because they have 4 stamps, 6 spirit. That's pretty much it. These boots I didn't use. This one I got really early on, like level 20. Very funny. Didn't use it. There was this wand, which I didn't use because I had a better one at the time. And then this was actually crazy good. I got it off of a drop in Desolus, off of level like 37 demons or whatever. So that one was really good. I had this one saved for the quest to free the dragon sprite or whatever, the Fey dragon, to raise him as an egg. But then I realized you needed 2 of them, so I never used it. I used the roids, but I did not use the agility one for those Blasted Lands ones. This was really good though. If you can get this, I really liked it. I also had, I don't have it anymore, but I had Sword of Omen. If you can get Vanquisher Sword, that is better, but I used Sword of Omen because I did not want to run RFG. And I enchanted this with the Badlands Fiery Blaze enchant quest, where you have to kill elite dragons. They are fearable, so pretty much if you can fear an elite, you can kill an elite. It's really easy. You just fear them, you just run after them, and you stab them for sword. This was a really good one. One I used right before that. So here's some fun stories I'll share. It's a long video, I apologize. There's a lot to talk about. This dagger dropped, and I wanted it. But the rogue in my party decided, no, you know, I actually want it. So he put it on Master Loot before we pulled, and then it dropped, and he took it for himself. And then he died at level 30, and I didn't. So that was very interesting. Shoutouts to that rogue. You're very cool. So then we did RFK. And in RFK, we had this drop. And I was like, you know, I want that. I want these things. So it was a really good weapon. Because I was using Photo Blade, I think it's called. Phyto Blade. It's the Wetlands Chain Quest sword that requires Herbalism. So that's another reason I had Herbalism Alchemy at the time. And I kept it around just to use that sword. I don't think it was the best sword I could get, but it was fun when you have Firestone procs and that Phyto Blade proccing, because it has an on-hit proc effect. It was fun. I think using a staff there would be better. I should think staffs are giga broken for meleeing. So early game, staff for sure. Like get if you're on Horde, get Cauldron Stirrer. That shit's broken. If you're on Alliance, pick up the Hogger staff early. That shit's broken. You do so much damage with staff. Like on this horde run, I am literally you get a lot of money early because you don't buy any of your spells because you don't need them. Like the only thing you buy is fear and maybe imp spells, but you just go and spend your money just trading staves. Or trading staves because the staves are so good. Anyway, this dropped. Another rogue in my guild won it. I wonder if he's still here. Twidget. That's the guy. Low 44. Rest in peace, my brother. Didn't die, but he's just not here anymore. He got this dagger. So, nice for him. And then I ran Nomer, and this thing dropped, and I did win it. It was a little less DPS, but I used this for a little bit. It was actually pretty good. The on-hit effect was total ass, but, you know, could be worse. It's a 1 DPS, a chance on proc, 1 DPS. So, yeah. And then, I don't think this dropped. Maybe it did. I don't think so. I can't remember. This might have dropped, and I might have used this also, but I don't think so. Nothing else great. Oh, we had some cracked charged gear. Let me see if I can find what was there. There was some just absolutely insane ring that dropped. But I can't find it here. It was... We had like nutty stats on this. It was like of strength, just like 12 strength ring or something. It was just bonkers. But, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you don't get them. What else did we have that was interesting? I'm trying to remember. Don't think there was much else. I think that was kind of it. Mara was kind of boring. I don't think like anything dropped at all. Yeah, none of this was relevant. I didn't use any of this. Oh, no, that wasn't on this character. No, nothing dropped. It was all boring. I was hoping this would drop. It would have been very funny. I would have meleeed with this. I think it would have been hilarious, but nope. I actually wanted this, the Blackstone ring, the 1% hit and the 20 AP, but we didn't get there. Just as a... I probably should have mentioned this earlier, just as a note, your ratio is a lot worse with strength. It's only a 1-to-1 compared to warriors, but it's like a 2-to-1. So you don't really get a lot of strength. So I don't think the strength build's actually good, but I was committing to the bit. It was pretty good. I had this other ring here, Seal of Rin. This one was nice. You get it from Dead Mines and you do the Stockade quest. Really strong. Would recommend using this for a while. It gives you crit and agi and strength and stam. I do think on this new build I'm gonna go agi strength or agi stam and focus on stam a lot. Not that I really need to, but I do think critting is the way to go. Like if I had, you know, like 15% crit or 20% crit, and I just, instead of all this strength, I just had agi. Because how much does this really add, right? So we have what? An additional 59 strength. 59 times... or divided by 14. So it gave us 4 extra DPS for having all this strength. But let's say this was like 10% extra crit. You know, every 10 swings, you're doubling your swing. Surely that's better. But we'll see how that goes. I do think Horse Side is stronger, because Blood Fury is crazy, and Cauldron Stir is crazy, and just horde things, you know. And you have stun resist, which is great versus some mobs. Do I think this is the most powerful version of Warlock that you can play? Hell no. That's fucking stupid. Just play regular Warlock if you want to play Warlock. Don't do this shit. I did this shit because I thought it was going to be really bad. And it actually turned out to be really strong. But if you want to play Warlock, just play normal Warlock. You know, people go down Affliction Tree on Warlock. I would literally still go down, if I played a regular Warlock, just with all spells, whatever, I would go pretty much the same build, minus the Firestone. I would just go down Demonology, pick up Soul Link, get the Succubus damage, always have a Succubus out, and I am the tank, I am tanking. It was much better that way. I find whenever I play a Voidwalker, it just loses aggro halfway through the pull anyway, even if I'm wanding, and I don't know, I'd rather just have more damage. And then the Voidwalker will eventually need mana and stuff, so... I don't know, wasn't a fan. That's about everything that I wanted to talk about. I'm trying to look and see if there's anything else. I don't think so. I didn't really use any of this stuff. Bandages are good. Shadow Ward is crazy. Spellstone I never ended up using, and I don't have it talented. But if there is a fight where you're like, oh, there's a lot of spell damage, Spellstone is just fucking wild. It is so good. Howl of Terror is good. Banish is good. Did use that a few times. Spell Lock. Macros. Did I have any macros I can go over? Not really. I had a mouse over curse because when you auto, you immediately want to apply Curse of Agony to another target. So you don't want to swap target, press it, swap back. You just want to click. So I put that on my mouse button. Soothing Kiss, just to go on here, reduces their threat. Pretty important. This is mount, dismount. This is life tap. This is in case I didn't want to max rank life tap. I could hold control and get it. Though I ended up just making them into 2 buttons because I didn't know how to write macros, because this is not how you write it. This is the... Oh, that's what T is. It's Imp Fire Shield. This Thorns is actually crazy from your Imp. 1 to 22, 1 to 24. This Fire Shield goes crazy hard. Would recommend. And Sacrifice to have Sacrifice. That's it. If you want to give it a try, give it a try. I will say, if you're like, man, you know, I want to play melee, but I fucking can't stand playing warrior. This felt way better than playing warrior. I would melee. I'm pretty sure I could melee as a mage, and it would feel better than playing warrior. Warrior, if you don't funnel yourself a bunch of gear and you're doing solo self-found, feels so bad because your resource, your rage, is tied to your auto attack hitting or your auto attack doing damage. So if your auto attack doesn't hit or doesn't do a lot of damage, then you don't get rage, and if you don't get rage, you don't get to play the game, and you're sitting there for like 7 seconds waiting for your next swing. Or you can play melee Warlock, where your damage is from your melee, but is also from your pet, but is also from agony, and is also from Firestone, and you still have mana, so if you need to get away, you still have fear and coil and everything. Like, you have all your resources sending as mage, which is why, hot take, I think leveling Balanced Druid is really good. Is it better than Feral? No. And it's not because of kill time, it's not because of drinking, it's because you don't have that 30% movement speed talent. That shit makes Feral broken. That movement speed talent is crazy. But I do think balance, if you're weaving in melee swings, is really strong, and you never have to drink. Or like almost never. It's like once every 20 pulls you're drinking, or if you just, you know, mess up your mana management. But another video for another time, perhaps, whenever I finish that run, which will be someday. But yeah, let me know if you have questions. I'm sorry this video turned out to be 1 hour long. Just had a bunch of stories to tell. There was, oh yeah, one last thing. There's an elite in the wetlands right up here. This Razor Maw Matriarch. She drops a belt that is 6 strength, 6 stam. I don't have it anymore. Would recommend farming her. She's level 30 something, so that cave is a little scary. So maybe come there in your 30s. I got it after I got this, in like 32 or something. Would recommend getting it. Was really strong. Carries you until you get this and you're 40. I think 40 or 44, something like that. You get it. Anyway, that's it for me. Let me know if you have questions in the comments. See you later.